This is the ancient city of Kashi. Mentioned in the Vedic, epic, and Puranic literature, Kashi occupies a very significant place in India's civilizational journey. One of the most sacred sites for Hindus, Kashi is home to several temples dedicated to several gods and goddesses. But Kashi also has a long history of repeated attacks and resistance, and temple destruction and restoration. And there can be no better example of this than the Vishwanath Temple. The Kashi Vishwanath Temple was first attacked by Qutbuddin Aibak in 1194 CE. Around 1240 CE, Queen Razia Sultan, who is often hailed as a feminist heroine, appropriated the site of the temple and built a mosque. The Bibi Razia Mosque still stands today in Kashi. The demolished temple was rebuilt near or inside Kashi's Avimukteshwara temple complex sometime in the 13th century. But Kashi saw another spate of temple destruction at the hands of either Sikandar Lodi or Hussain Shah Sharki. Temple remnants were taken as far as Jaunpur and used to construct mosques. The Vishwanath Temple was built in 1585 by Narayan Bhatt with the help of Raja Todarmal's son. The Mughal tyrant Aurangzeb first attacked Banaras in the year 1664, but his army was fiercely resisted by a group of Hindu warrior ascetics, the Dashanami Naga sannyasis. These sannyasis were fearless warriors ready to lay down their lives for Vishweshwara rather than see his temple desecrated and destroyed. This time Aurangzeb was defeated and repelled. The Battle of Jnanvapi, as it is called, is recorded by Professor James G. Lochtefeld in the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Hinduism. Stung by this defeat, Aurangzeb attacked again in 1669 with the intention to destroy the temple in its entirety and to punish the Hindus for their resistance and audacity. Aurangzeb razed the Vishwanath temple to the ground and built the Jnanvapi Masjid at that spot. This destruction of Vishwanath temple is recorded in his court chronicle, Masir-e-Alamgiri. A portion of the temple was intentionally retained as the rear wall of the mosque. Ironically, the mosque derives its name from the sacred location on which it stands. It is said that during Aurangzeb's destruction of the temple, a priest took the shivling of the temple and threw it down the well for safety. This is the Jnanvapi, the well of wisdom. The well is surrounded by a handsome, low-roofed colonnade erected in 1828 by Maharani Baijabai, wife of Maharaja Daulat Rao Sindhya of Gwalior. Immediately to the east of this colonnade is the figure of a large 7-feet-high bull, a gift from the king of Nepal. After the demolition of the temple by Aurangzeb, Hindus reinstalled a Vishweshwara shivling in an inconspicuous corner south of the Jnanvapi well. No temple was built over it, and Hindus secretly worshipped there without knowledge of Mughal authorities. According to some accounts, several Rajput rulers came there to worship the deity throughout the 17th and 18th centuries. In 1777, Maharani Ahilyabai Holkar of Indore built the present Vishwanath temple over that shivling. The spires and domes of the temple were draped with embossed golden sheets on the orders of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1839. Remember the Razia Mosque built atop the first Vishwanath temple? Right next to it, a temple dedicated to Adi Vishweshwara was built in the 18th century, either by one of the Peshwas or by Savai Jai Singh of Amber. This wave of temple restoration shows that the temples were retained by the Hindus in their collective memory and they left no opportunity to rebuild the destroyed temples. The Jnanvapi well and temple and Nandi complex near it have been clearly mentioned in colonial era documents. James Prinsep conducted a thorough survey of the Kashi Vishwanath and Jnanvapi mosque complex. The dotted line in the temple plan drawn up by Prinsep shows the portion of the temple complex that is occupied by the mosque. Prinsep also tells us that the principal shivling of Vishwanath stood in an ornamental reservoir at the center of the complex. This is an interesting observation in light of the discovery of a shivling-like structure inside the Wuzu Khana of the mosque. When Rani Ahilyabai Holkar built the new Vishwanath temple more than a century later after its destruction, this old tradition of the shivling being inside a reservoir was well remembered and followed. British records from the 19th century even mention riots between Hindus and members of the minority community over the rites of worship and the disputed structure. This dispute is still pending in the courts of law today. The Allahabad High Court, in a recent judgment, allowed the ASI to conduct a survey of the Gyanvapi mosque complex in the interest of justice. There is no doubt that the history of the Kashi Vishwanath Temple truly chronicles the history of Indic civilization in the face of foreign invaders, a history of destruction and restoration, of fanatic attacks and undying resistance. But the real question is this: will the historical wrong finally be rectified?